Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Brown, and I am the Executive Director of Admissions and a proud graduate of the SUNY Oneonta. I am absolutely delighted to welcome you to Red Dragon Ready, Academic Success and Support. We recognize that your journey has been interrupted over the last 18 months. It's been anything but normal. Many of you may not have had the opportunity to visit campus and to talk to the community members that work with and support our students. We hope tonight's session will help to connect you with some of those important campus resources and help to answer the many questions we know are on your mind. Our goal is to always provide our students with an undergraduate experience that prepares you for a successful career and, more importantly, a meaningful life. Small classes, engaged faculty, and all kinds of experiential learning opportunities will start you on a path to success in whatever field you choose. And we will be there to support you throughout your Oneonta career. Tonight, you will hear from two very critical areas to start you on your way, but there are many more offices and people for you to meet in the fall when you finally arrive on campus. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Monica Growl, our Director of New Student Services. I hope you enjoy the session, and I will see you in just a little bit for the Q&A.
Greetings, everyone. I'm so excited you're here tonight. Tonight's format will be both presentation and question and answer, as Karen already mentioned. Each of our speakers will provide you with a brief introduction to their area and hopefully address many of the questions on your mind. We also have a chat room staffed with additional campus experts from those two offices. They will respond to questions that may come up throughout the presentation. We will also be answering questions live at the conclusion of the formal presentation. To access the chat on the computer, hover over the bottom portion of your screen and a taskbar will pop up. Then click on the conversation bubble to access the chat. On a mobile device, I believe you will find the conversation in the bubble. The conversation bubble in the upper right-hand corner. I would now like to introduce you to Ms. Joanne Murphy from our Academic Advisement Office.
Hey everybody, I am coming to you live from my office, and of course the phone is ringing, so welcome to Oneonta. First of all, congratulations on your high school graduation. It has been quite a year, and we already know that you are strong, you are smart, you are resilient, and we can't wait to work with you. I too am a proud graduate of SUNY Oneonta, class of 1986. And as I said, I'm speaking to you from my office in the Academic Advisement Center, and we here truly hope that each of you will come and visit us sometime over your first semester. In the chat also, we've got Claire and Anna, two of our professional advisors who are here to help answer questions. The Academic Advisement team provides personalized guidance and support to you in all aspects of your academic experience. Students come to us to discuss exploring, choosing, or changing majors, adding concentrations or minors, exploring career options, picking classes because we want you to make the most out of each semester, planning things like study abroad or internships, or even just connecting to other campus resources. Basically, students come to us for anything that they need to help make the most of their academic career here. We have a wonderful team of 6 professional advisors. We meet individually with students both in person and remotely, and after this year especially, we can't wait to start meeting with students in person. In addition to the advisement team, you will have a faculty advisor who is a professor from your major or area of interest. That advisor is an expert in their field of study. Our faculty are caring and accessible, and they work closely with our office to provide you with excellent support. If you are exploring different majors, and even if you have declared a major, you can always come work with our office. Speaking of majors, we offer over 60 different ones. Our students study everything from biology to psychology to music industry, digital and studio art, business economics, education, sport management, computer science, environmental sustainability. There is literally something for everyone. And you don't have to know exactly what you want to study yet. It's good to explore. There's a lot of pressure on incoming students to declare a major, but you have time. College is a time to learn new things about yourself and about the world. And basically, what you need to do first is learn how to learn at the college level. We want you to have a rich and diverse experience at Oneonta, and not just in the classroom. You have so many opportunities to do this. In fact, by the time that they're seniors, 75% of our student body has been involved in some form of experiential learning, including internships, study abroad, amazing research and presentations with faculty, job shadowing, leadership programs. I want you to think about college not just as what you have to do, but what you get to do. Now, I know you haven't even started school yet, but degree planning for us starts early. In fact, the advisement team has been busy all summer long, hand making each of you individual schedules for your first semester. And we do this to make sure that you get started on the right track. I know some of you have already seen some of those classes. Many of you have called the office. It's been nice talking to you, and we're all looking forward to seeing the faces attached to the names. Please know that these schedules are not done, and they will change. This is especially true this year because AP scores are coming in later than usual. As I said, it's been a challenging year for everybody. If you have AP or IB or college credits that you have earned in high school, please make sure that you have official transcripts sent to admissions directly from the school at which you took the coursework or from College Board for AP. Again, those credits don't come from the high school, they come directly from the institution, the transfer institution. It's never too late, so if you haven't done so already, it's okay to do so now. But because those AP scores are coming in so late, it is especially important to look at those classes, and if you see a repeat course, reach out and let us know. Admissions is letting us know, we're looking, but your eyes are also very important. In fact, I think that really speaks to from now all the way through till you walk across that graduation stage, you must play an active role in your education and reach out to our office, to your faculty advisor, to all of the resources. The most important piece of this is you. You're going to receive an email at the end of the month with information about scheduling an appointment with an advisor between August 2nd and 13th if you'd like to make changes to your fall schedule. So it's not locked in or carved in stone. Additionally, the first 5 days of the semester is called the add drop period, and you can make changes to your schedule at that point too. And as always, the advisement team is here to help. So we'll be here during the period from the 2nd to the 13th, and we'll be here during the add drop as well. Additionally, you have tools to help you plan and navigate your degree. Two ones I want to mention. First, each of you has a degree works document that you can access right from the My Oneonta portal, and that outlines all of your degree requirements. The professional advisors in the Advisement Center are happy to meet with you to review it after you get here. And also, students have degree maps that you can access right from the college's homepage that lay out possible four-year plans. And that just sort of helps to create a framework for you to plan moving forward. The key to remember is you never have to go it alone, and you always have help and support. We really, really take a personal interest in the success of each and every one of our students. And in the 20 years I've been here on campus, I can tell you that it is these relationships that make all the difference between the professors, the advisement team, faculty, other student support offices. You always have help and guidance, and you never have to navigate anything alone. You just need to reach out. We're all here. We're all dedicated to your success from before you arrive until you walk across the graduation stage. I had said earlier that one of the most important things that you'll need to do when you first get here and during your first semester is to learn how to learn at the college level. You don't have to have everything figured out right away, but know that the leap from high school to college is a big one, and it's been a pretty challenging year. Again, there's always support, and academically, there's support including the Student Learning Center, accessibility resources, and we have Allison Fugit, the director of the Student Learning Center, who I'll turn things over to talk about those things in more detail. But welcome, 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 and we all are really excited to work with you. Congratulations again on your high school graduation. Allison?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Joanne. Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's been a really amazing year in a lot of respects, and I think we're ready for it to become the kind of year that we want it to be. And we're all very excited to welcome you to our campus. As mentioned, there are a lot of resources available for students on our campus, and we have them both virtually and in person, so we're ready for you in whatever way that you're going to be coming to us. I'd like to start with just explaining where we're located on campus. The Student Learning Center is in the library, and one of the reasons that we like to house the Student Learning Center in the library is so that students, if they don't know where to go, they know if I need help, I'm just going to go right to that building. I'll talk to a reference librarian, I'll go to accessibility resources, or go over to the Learning Center and receive some tutoring. Whatever it is, that's the building you're going to want to go to. And so we have on the first floor, we've got accessibility resources. And on the second floor, we're going to have the tutoring support and the different workshops that are available to you. We do have different types of tutoring available. We have both professional and peer tutoring available. The professional tutoring, we call it academic coaching, and it is a one-on-one appointment that you'll have with an academic coach, with a professional tutor. These folks also teach on campus, and they'll work with you in all sorts of things that you need help in. So if you feel lost and you don't have a specific subject that you're looking for, you know, you're just taking 3 different classes and you feel overwhelmed, you're not getting your reading done on time, you can't get your homework in on time, you're really struggling, this person is here to support you because they're going to be able to figure out what kind of learning support you need and be able to help you learn about yourself, your individual needs, and apply them to your coursework. They can help you with what we call student skills. So that can be anything from mapping out all the classes that you have and figuring out your due dates, to figuring out if you need a binder or if you're better for a folder, your different organizational system that works best for you, to even larger projects, you know, figuring out all the different steps in a research project that you might have. So different types of student skills. They can also help you with writing, with academic reading, and with some math skills as well. So the academic coaching is kind of the place you're going to go if it's not necessarily subject specific help, but you find that you are really struggling and you need some academic support. And that's going to be that professional tutoring that we have available. The professional tutoring is going to be available in person or online, depending on student need. And so that's going to be something where when you make the request for that academic coaching, you just let us know what the preferred mode is going to be for you. We understand that everyone's going to have different needs. And so that'll come in with the application, and we'll be able to get back to you and tailor that to what you're hoping to get. The peer tutoring is going to be much more subject specific. And for the most part, peer tutoring is going to be online. The reason for that, of course, is because we hire other students. And so all of you are coming from different places. Some of you are coming in, some of you are going to be commuting. And so it's because of COVID especially, we're making sure that we're just available for everyone. And that also means that we're able to hire the best tutors possible. So that's going to be primarily online. We do have some exceptions to that. The in-person services are going to be for classes that we do have on campus. And so we're going to have different mix of services that are going to be available, again, tailored to what our offerings are this semester and to try to give you the best experience that we can give you. We do have one new feature this semester that we're bringing on to have more in-person services available for students, and that's going to be peer-led facilitation of group work. And so if you come by the library and you've got a study group that you have just put together, but you're trying to figure out how a study group really works, we do have peer tutors who are going to be able to come in and help you with that. And that's going to be an in-person service that we have available. So we do have a variety of things available to help students who are sensing that they have some academic struggles and are wanting to get an extra boost, or who aren't struggling but find themselves, they know that they're fresher, they know they do better if they just have constant, contact and support. And so we're available for any type of student who wants to come in and get that from us. The way to sign up is you can come on by in person, you can give us a call, or you can sign up on our website. We use an application called Traction. It's traction.oneonta.edu is where you would find it. And the tutoring, sign up for tutoring is available the first week of classes. So once you get your syllabus, you see what you're looking at, you can come on by and sign on up. You can do it online first week of classes because you know you're going to want to secure a spot, and we will support you throughout the semester. You can start at any point in the semester. So say you find out 2-3 weeks in that, hey, I should have signed up for tutoring, this is better for me. You can start later in the semester, and you can also drop tutoring at any point. So say midway through, you get your midterm grades back, you feel like you're doing really well, it's fine to go ahead and drop. It is not graded. There is no feedback given to your instructors. That's something that you can choose to provide on your own, but we do not communicate with them. It's just a service that's provided to students, and there is no extra cost. It comes right out of your tuition, so you're not paying anything out of pocket. I always say if you're willing to go get a library book, why not also be willing to get a tutor? It's just a resource that's available to you, and you'd be surprised. You give it a shot, and if you like it, you stick with it, and if you find it's not useful for you, you just go ahead and drop it. It's not too much extra concern or difficulty. Sometimes people are concerned that it'll show up on their transcript, and it doesn't. It's just a service that's available for you. We do have the in-person and the online now, which again, has been a transition for us, but we find that it's been working really great and students really like it. And so that's again something where when you come and you talk to us, you let us know what you're hoping to get, and we're going to try to work with you and figure out what's best for the services that you're requesting. Part of the Student Learning Center is also something called Accessibility Resources. And Accessibility Resources is an area that you will go if you have a diagnosed disability, you suspect you have a disability, or you have something, some kind of plan that requires or allows for you to have accommodations to your learning and your schedule. And so that's something that if you know in advance that's going to be something that you're going to be using, we recommend from the get-go, you go ahead and you contact the office, you get on in there and you get all of your paperwork over to them so that they can get the ball rolling and get you started. The sooner the better when it comes to that. When you contact the office, they then reach out to you for an individual meeting to talk about what your needs are. So it's important to keep in mind if it's something that you've used before, and it's important to keep in mind if it's something you've used before, that the transition for some people can be difficult and the transition for others can be great. Because the biggest difference between high school and college when it comes to using your accommodations is that it's really student-centered in college and you advocate for yourself. So keep in mind that if you come to the office and you want to use your accommodations, we're going to set you up, we're going to make that happen, but you are the one who then lets your instructor know that this is what you're hoping to do. And so you can choose to use it in one class and then not use it in another class. It's really up to you how you want that to work. But once you're in, you've got the ability to use it for the entire semester. So it's something we strongly recommend that if that's a service that you've had before and you think you might use it again, go ahead and get on in there. For students who aren't familiar with accessibility resources, it's something to keep in the back of your head because it's something that might come in handy later on during your time at the college. One common thing that will happen is students might sprain an ankle and have trouble getting to a class, or they might, a better example is sprain a wrist and have trouble writing, and they have a timed writing that they have to do. It would be helpful to contact the office and see if there are any accommodations that you can get to help you with something if maybe you can't use your hand during an exam where you normally have handwriting. So there are different types of supports that we have available for you. And the Student Learning Center, again, is the hub through which all of those things are provided. But if you get confused, you don't know where to go, just go right on over to the library and everyone's going to point you in the right direction. I'm going to pass it back to Karen now, and I think we'll see if we have any questions. Is that right, Karen?
That is correct. Yes, we're going to go to the questions. We've had many in the chat, and some of those have been answered, and not all of them. Before we move to our first question for our panelist, Joanne Murphy, I do want to address the question of bills, because many people have asked about bills. And we know that they were delayed by several days, and bills did go live earlier this afternoon. Families should have received that notification. Students would have received that in their Oneonta email account, I believe. And you can access your bills through my Oneonta portal, and we'll follow up with an email so that everyone makes sure that we make sure that everyone has access and knows where to go for those bills. You have until August 6th to clear your bill. And if you have questions about that process, we of course will help you out and connect you with student accounts. So that's it for the bills right now. And now let's go back to some academic questions. And I'm going to send the first question over to Joanne Murphy. There's some questions about schedule changes and how does that process work in the upcoming week. So maybe you could talk to both the transfer and freshman specific process that they'll have to go through.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Transfer students are already working with faculty members who are working with our office this summer to make changes to and or complete their schedules. So if you are an incoming transfer student, you should have already received an email from a faculty member to schedule an appointment. If you have not, please feel free to send us an email at academic.advisement@oneonta.edu. I believe that can be placed in the chat. We do want to make sure that every incoming transfer is meeting with a faculty member during this period this week and next week. For incoming first year students, you will receive an email at the end of the month with information to schedule a remote advising appointment with a faculty member between August 2nd and August 13th. So you'll have the opportunity to meet one-on-one with a faculty member or a professional advisor from our office, also to make changes to your schedule. In addition, when you arrive for orientation, you will have the opportunity to make changes to your schedule during the first 5 days of classes, the add drop period, and the professional advisement staff will be available at that point too. I had said earlier, and I know it's a lot of information to absorb all at once, it is very important for you to look at your schedule. If you see repeat courses on there, and I've seen a couple of questions in the chat, Anna, thank you for answering that. You may send an email to academic.advisement@oneonta.edu and let us know. We are also receiving that information from admissions, but again, the more eyes we have on it, the better. So feel free to reach out to us and let us know if you have a repeat course on your schedule. We will make those changes. And we just, as we will the whole time you're here, we will work together to make sure that your schedule is what it needs to be. The thought occurs to me, we work on your first semester schedule, but we're available to help with your second semester schedule and your third semester schedule. It's just important that you reach out. You will also have a faculty advisor who can help as well. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Thanks, Joanne.
Sure.
I want to clarify a little bit. There's a lot of activity around transcripts as well. So for first year students, we need you to, as Joanne mentioned in her comments, send any transcripts from institutions you've earned credit from, as well as AP or IB credit to the admissions office, so that credit can then be placed onto your file, your application file, and then that will feed over to our academic advisement office when they're preparing your schedule. And again, adjustments will likely need to be made if we don't have that information. There's another question from transfers regarding high school transcripts. We do request that transfer students send both their high school transcript as well as any transcripts with coursework completed at the college level. So I hope that answers some of those questions for you. I'd now like to ask Allison if she can address the question that came up. How can you become a peer tutor? So not how can you access a peer tutor, but how can you become a peer tutor? I love it.
Yeah, I love that too. Actually, just I don't know if everybody knows this, but I started off when I was a student as a peer tutor, and now I run one of the places. So it's a really great place to start if you're interested in education and getting a good understanding of the way all of it works. So to become a peer tutor at SUNY Oneonta, you do need to be a student there for at least one semester. So it's a good goal to keep in mind. But the reason for that is because you need to have earned a grade in a course. So we use the grades in the course and we get a teacher recommendation, a faculty recommendation. And so you do need to have one semester under your belt in order to achieve those things. And then after that, you can apply at the tutoring center. There's actually on the same website that you would use to apply to receive tutoring, you can apply to be a tutor. Also worth noting that if you are a tutor, you can still receive tutoring. It's not exclusive. So it doesn't mean that if you're working for us, you can't receive the services. A lot of our tutors will actually also receive tutoring in a different subject. You can be really good at one thing and still need assistance in another thing. It's just the way the world works. So if you do become a tutor with us, don't let that make you shy away from receiving tutoring services in the future too. I hope you do.
Thanks, Allison. Can you, let's stick with you and maybe answer a question regarding, are you guaranteed a tutor?
Oh, that's an
And what does that
excellent
look like?
question. Yeah, are you guaranteed a tutor? You are not guaranteed a tutor. The reason you're not guaranteed a tutor is because you can submit an application for any course that is being offered on campus. And so you might submit an application, and then what we have to go do is we'll do our very best to find a tutor for you. And so, as I said before, we base it off of recommendations. The student tutor has to have earned an appropriate grade to be able to tutor the subject. And then we also try to match the class and the instructor. So if you're taking a certain course with a certain instructor, we'll try to match so that the peer tutor has also had that same instructor. It just makes it easier when you're actually doing the tutoring. So we go through a process to be able to do that. Usually we're able to find a tutor and hire that person, train them, and then set them up with your schedule. But you do run into outliers where maybe a tutor isn't something that we'll be able to find for you. A good example of this is like a senior level class. Those students would have graduated. So it's going to be difficult to find somebody who can then tutor that, right? Or another example is if it's the first time the course is being taught, we won't have had somebody who's taken it before. But these things don't happen too often. And when that does happen, what we'll do is usually set you up with a different tutor, like an academic coach that I was talking about before, who can still assist you with aspects of the course, even if they haven't taken that specific course before. Or we'll talk to the instructor. In the case of a new course, for example, that hasn't been taught before, we'll talk to the instructor and see if they can suggest a tutor who's taken a different course but might be familiar with the material. So we do our very best to provide tutoring for you, but we cannot guarantee it. Also near the end of the semester, we do turn off the tutoring application. That's usually 2 to 3 weeks close to the end of the semester, because we want to make sure there's enough time for you to receive the tutoring before the end of the semester. So that would be another time where you wouldn't be guaranteed a tutor. But generally speaking, if you apply for a tutor, we're going to find one for you. Usually, I just can't make it a promise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a question in the chat. It could be on the minds of others. I'll answer this one, I guess. It's how does student employment on campus work? And that is an excellent question, because many of our students do work on campus through our career development set. No, we changed that. It's not through our career development center anymore, isn't it? Through a human resources. We have someone in our human resources office dedicated to student employment. We will have information regarding student employment available to new students in the coming weeks, and we will have some information upon arrival on campus, but we do have a central kind of repository for students to be able to access jobs that are available on campus. Many offices on campus support student employment. Of course, our dining halls, our residence halls all have different opportunities for students. And then we also have students who also pick up jobs in our local community. Maybe you work at a Hannaford at home and you want to continue to work at a Hannaford in Oneonta or a Price Chopper, those types of things. So there's lots of opportunities. I probably guess upwards of 70% of our students are employed at some level throughout their career here. So that's a great question. Now we're going to send it back over to Joanne Murphy. Let's see, we have lots of questions about the schedule still and how to access the schedule. So if you could just give some detail about how they're going to access those schedules, that would be helpful.
Sure. So you can see your schedule of classes in two different places. You can see what classes you've been enrolled in so far on your degree works. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. You may also see your schedule of classes in web services. So if you log on to the My Oneonta portal, there are links on the bottom left. One of them says web services. One of them, I believe, says course schedule. I have a faculty view, not a student view. So you can access your schedule of courses in web services, under course schedule, or in degree works. They provide different information. So in web services, you'll see detail like the professor, the day and time, whether it's an online course or a face-to-face course. The vast majority of our courses are face-to-face, by the way. There are some online courses because some students prefer them. But the vast majority are face-to-face. And then you can see on your degree works what classes you're enrolled in and where they slot to fulfill degree requirements. So you can check your course schedule in the My Oneonta portal under course registration or under web services, course schedule or web services. I think there are links for both in the student view.
Thanks, Joanne.
Sure.
Another question for you would be, is there a limit to the number of classes or credits that a student can take during a semester?
Excellent, excellent question. So typically, a typical college career, which most people don't do, is 8 semesters of 15 credits each, so 5 3-credit classes for 8 semesters. But of course, that equals 120 credits. But people take 4-credit classes with science classes with labs or mini courses, or students bring in credit. So it's really individual. And again, that's a part of what the advisement team works on with you to plan best what works for you. Some students prefer to take 15 credits, some want 18 credits. Some students want to take 12 credits because they like a slower pace and want to take a summer or a winter class. You know, it really is as individual as you are. A typical semester is 5 classes, 15 credits. Some students want to do a little bit more, some students a little bit fewer credits, but a typical semester is 15 credits, 5 courses. When you work with an advisor from August 2nd to 13th, or if you're working with a faculty advisor now as a transfer student, that's a conversation that you can have with them. And certainly you're welcome to email our office and we can take a look as well. So if you're bringing in a lot of credit, you have a little bit more wiggle room.
Thanks, Joanne.
Sure.
Another question for you is regarding class modality. This student says that they had received several online classes and they were surprised by that. It's not their learning preference. So can you speak a little bit about that
Sure.
and if there's a difference between freshman and transfer?
So certainly for first-year students, we try to limit the number of online courses. And so, however, there are a few areas where the only option was an online course. So there are some, off the top of my head, I think of criminal justice. Some of those introductory courses are taught online by people in law enforcement. You know, so it really depends. If you have more than one online course, please reach out to us and we will make a change to your schedule. But to the best of my knowledge, most students should have no more than one online course. For transfer students, again, it's a little bit more nuanced because if you're bringing in a lot of credit and you have very specific courses that you need and they're only offered online and you need them to stay on course sequence, then you may. But we will work with you individually to help create the best schedule to meet your needs, and also to help you stay on track for timely degree completion. And that's more specific to transfer students, but for incoming first-year students, you really shouldn't be in more than one online course, and if you are, let's take a look at your schedule together. All right?
Thanks, Joanne.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allison, there's a question about a 504 plan and how a student can forward the information that they need to get to accessibility resources. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. If a student has a 504 plan or an IEP or any other kind of documentation that they want to give to the college, you can send that right to accessibility resources. You can call them or email them. Their email is actually SDS. It used to be Student Disability Services, so sds@oneonta.edu, but that's right on the website. So if you go to the website, you'll see their email there, and you can contact them and attach any files that you might need. They also might need you to fax it, so they'll talk to you about your individual plan and what it is that you need to support your request for accommodations. But you would need to contact that office directly, and then if you contact the office, they do reach out and you'll have an individual meeting with them. The meeting might be virtual if that's something that you would prefer as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. Okay, let's see. There's a question regarding textbooks and ordering textbooks, and when will the professors have those posted? Joanne, is it possible for you to speak to that?
Typically, the list of textbooks should be accessible on the schedule of classes now. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. On the course schedule, if you look up an individual course, and you click on, hang on, I'm multitasking, and you click on the course reference number, you should be brought to a link that says view textbook information for and the class. I'm going to put in the chat an example from an accounting, hold on, I'm going to put it in the other chat and you guys can put it in. But here it is. Additionally, here we go. Additionally, when classes begin, you will receive information from the individual course professor about textbooks that you need for the individual class. There will be time, but to get textbooks, so you can access that information from the individual professor when they post course materials, but also on the schedule of classes. If you click on the course reference number, it's a 3 or 4 digit code, and then you'll see view textbook information for Accounting 100 Section 1, and you'll be able to see it there. And I want to say professors also understand that students make changes sometimes to their schedules. So, they won't necessarily assign all kinds of assignments and reading during the first class session because they know that students make changes. So it shouldn't be a source of stress to not have your textbooks ahead of time.
Thanks, Joanne. There's several comments about schedules. A reminder, first-year students have not been given their schedules yet. Some student schedules are being developed, others are not, haven't yet been started. So some students are able to stumble upon those schedules in My Oneonta, but many of the first year students do not have your schedules created yet. And once those final schedules are done for everyone, you will receive notification from Joanne and her team that they're ready for viewing in the My Oneonta portal. I believe our target date for that is the end of July. Is that correct, Joe?
That's correct. And I want to explain that we take our time to make those schedules. It's not an automated process. So we look at your college and high school survey that you submitted. We look at if you're a student athlete and you have a practice schedule, we take our time to create a schedule that doesn't conflict with your soccer practice. If you let us know that you use accommodations, we create a schedule to try to allow for potentially for extended test taking time. So we really, when I said earlier that we take take an individual interest in each of our students. We really do. These schedules take time, and the professional advisement team is working together to create the best possible schedule. We're updating that schedule based upon credits that are coming in. We appreciate the communication that we're hearing from you. We appreciate your patience, and we wish that we could say nobody sees their schedule until they're all done, but that's not something we can do. So that's part of what the message that I want you to hear from this conversation is: your schedules are in process, they're in flux, they will change, and we will work together to finalize it, and you will have an opportunity to sit down one-on-one with a faculty member or a professional advisor from this office to work on your schedule. You play an active role from now until you graduate.
Thanks, Joanne. More questions about textbook because we brought them up, and now there's questions revolving around should they order them now, and I think the advice is probably not until the schedules are finalized. But
I would say wait. I would say wait. If you, and again, it's just a couple of weeks. The textbooks come in, quickly. So and I would say wait. I would say best to wait. You will not be behind.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
There's lots of questions here. I'm just trying to get through them. There is a question, and there's been several about COVID and vaccinations and masking. So why don't I take this opportunity to address some of those concerns, questions, and ideas. Right now, we are still waiting for additional guidance from SUNY. As you may be aware, the governor indicated that should the FDA approve any of the 3 vaccinations that we have available in the U.S., that if those are approved by the end of the start of the semester, our students will be required to have those vaccinations. We have no further guidance on that. The FDA has not approved any. So our advice is for students to plan to get a vaccination if possible, because that's going to set you up for the best possible experience once you get to campus. We don't have any guidelines yet for masking and when masking may or may not be required. And so once we have all of that guidance, and we are working on an email to get out to students later this week, waiting for some information we believe will be forthcoming. But that's really all we have right now, but you rest assured we're going to tell you everything we can as soon as we get the information. And we have a frequently asked questions page on our website. We will direct you to that as well so that you have all the information. But again, our intention, as is likely yours, is to get back to as normal a fall semester as we possibly can. So we're really looking forward to having fewer restrictions on your ability to move about campus. But of course, we want everyone to be safe. So going back to academic advisement, can you talk on this questions about language and if students have to take a language? And so there's been a question or 2 about math requirements.
Great. So the foundation of a bachelor's degree, the foundation of a liberal arts education, is something we call general education coursework, Gen Ed. You're going to learn a whole new language here. So Gen Ed is a series, general education courses are a series of subjects that students can select a range of to meet degree requirements. So some of the subject areas are required, but not all. So Gen Ed courses are composition, math, foreign language, subject areas, foreign language, social science, arts, humanities, science, oral communication skills. The 2 that are required are math and composition. A foreign language is an option, but not a requirement. However, if you're an education major, so certain majors have different sets of requirements. So if you are a childhood education major, you do have to meet a foreign language requirement. But for the general student population, a foreign language is not a requirement, but it is an option. as an educator, I think everyone should take a foreign language. I think it's a wonderful experience. It's good to have exposure to different languages and ways of life, but that's up to you. But it's not a requirement for most majors. It is for education. In terms of the math, so students have to fulfill a math gen ed requirement. Depending on your major, you have different options and or requirements. Students who are, and we know that math is a subject where research shows it is beneficial to take math as quickly as possible after you graduate from high school while the math information is fresh in your mind. Maybe Allison can expand on some of that afterward. The Student Learning Center and the Advisement Center are working closely together to do all that we can to help our incoming first-year students get into the right math class early. So students who are coming in as undecided and students who are in what we call STEM majors, sciences, technology, and math majors, we are asking you to take a math skills assessment exam so that we can place you appropriately in the best possible math class to start. So I know that's a long answer to a short question. Yes, math is a requirement, and you will work with us and we will work together to get you into the appropriate math course so that you have a good foundation in mathematics to start. Not everybody has to take it in their first semester, but everybody does have to fulfill a math requirement.
Okay, I have two more for you, Joanne. Sorry, Allison.
No,
I'm just going to give them both to you. One is regarding if you're a student athlete and the schedule, and is there any flexibility in the schedule? And then the second one is referencing advisors, and when do they find out who their advisor is? Will they be speaking to that advisor in August? So if you could get to those two.
So we love our student athletes. I'm actually the faculty mentor for the men's soccer team. Claire, one of our professional advisors in the chat, is the faculty mentor for the women's soccer team. Anna works with one of our fraternities. I mean, we're all pretty heavily involved with our students and their activities outside of the classroom. For student athletes, as I said earlier, we handcraft schedules that work with your practice schedule. However, for transfer students especially, if you have a required course that you must have to keep you on track for degree completion, you may have to, run from class to practice. But for the most part, your schedule should not conflict with your practice schedule. Certainly, if you have an issue, our office is here to help, as with sort of the answer to every question. If you have an issue, if you need help, our office is here to help. In terms of faculty advisors, we will be assigning faculty advisors right before you get here for orientation. For now, you work with the advisement, professional staff, and admissions. So we feel that it is best to keep the communication lines simple. We want to make sure that you get responses to your questions. And once you get here, give us a couple of days. We'll get all those faculty advisors input, and you'll see that person's name and contact information right on the top of your DegreeWorks document, accessed in the My Oneonta portal right in Blackboard. So within the first week on campus, you should see your faculty advisor's contact information.
Joanne, we've had a few questions about the Excelsior Scholarship and how many credits does a student need to maintain for the Excelsior Scholarship. I know it's a very complicated topic, but if you could talk a little bit about that.
It is, thank you. Yeah, of course it is, but there's a general rule. And the general rule is to maintain your Excelsior Scholarship eligibility. Students must earn 30 credits per academic year. Academic year is fall, winter, spring, summer. So you may do that by taking 15 credits and 15 credits, Some students do that by taking 15, 3, and 12. It can be divided up, but students must have 30 credits per academic year. So 30 credits by the end of the student's first year, 60, am I doing the math correctly, by the second year, 90 by the third, 120 by the senior year. Now, students who bring in credit from high school may apply that credit one time to that 30 credit requirement. If you use the Excelsior Scholarship, you should have a relationship with your financial aid counselor, and our office is here to help and support as well. So again, the most important ingredient in this recipe is you, and work with your financial aid counselor, work with academic advisor, but the rule of thumb is work with academic advisement, by the way. 30 credits by the end of the first academic year, 60 by the second, 90 by the third, and then 120 by the fourth.
Thank you.
Sure.
Here's a fun one.
Okay.
How do parents get permission to access their child's grades and records? Is there a power of attorney or a FERPA form that can be completed?
I'm happy to help with that one as well. SUNY Oneonta does not currently have an avenue to sign away FERPA rights. FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And basically what that means for us is that we can communicate information about your academic record to you and only you in person, via your Oneonta email, or remotely using Teams, Microsoft Office Teams, which is password protected. You may invite anyone you like into that conversation. So if you want to set up a meeting with us and you want a parent to sit in, that is your choice, and we're happy. We love parents, families. It's just that we are bound by federal law, and so you may invite a family member or somebody into the conversation. We cannot, but you may.
Thank you.
Sure.
Again, still questions about schedules and changes. Academic advisement is right now is the resource for any questions regarding your schedule. But again, they're not all complete yet. So you may have to just be patient because they may not have all the answers. We don't have all the credit on yet because we haven't received all the transcripts, etc. But rest assured, they will do their magic and everyone will have a schedule by the end of July. I've seen it happen every year. And this is a question that they're asking about, does everyone meet with a counselor or an advisor once the schedules are finalized? So there's that component of the summer that Joanne has referenced where you can meet with an advisor. And then there's orientation where there's still an opportunity. I don't know that we've talked at all about that August piece. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I know that the schedule is still in flux for orientation. The advisement team is here. When you come in for orientation, we are here, available. First 5 days of classes, we are here and we are available. You know, it's interesting. Some students, they get their schedule, they're happy with the schedule. Not everybody needs help, but if you do, if you want to meet with somebody, we're here to help. You know, we're available. We're here Monday through Friday. We're here online. We're here in person. We are here for you. We'll be here.
Thanks, Joe.
Sure. And we know it's a lot. It can be overwhelming. There's a lot of information. There's a lot to absorb. We are all here to help support getting you going and moving forward.
There's a question about, do we know if winter classes are online or in person? Typically our winter classes are all online, am I correct?
That is correct. That is correct. Yes. And summer courses as well. And interestingly, some students have really acclimated to online coursework, and like it very much. And I want to say, I had an interesting conversation with a faculty member today, and she's one of the people working with transfer students, and she said, you know, I remind students that a class being online doesn't mean you don't interact with a faculty member. So if you're on campus and your course is online, that doesn't mean that you can't go see a faculty member in their office. It doesn't mean you can't have a face-to-face conversation with your professor. So, you know, the course modality does not limit the way that you can interact with that professor.
There is a question regarding, is there a foreign language assessment exam? Great
question. We have the Foreign Languages and Literatures Office who will give you an actual assessment and place you in the appropriate language course if you'd like to. So it's not a requirement, but again, if you'd like to, if you speak a language and you want to take a higher level language class in that language, you can go see the Office of Foreign Languages and Literatures, and they can actually do an assessment with you and place you appropriately. Absolutely. It's a great question.
Thank you. I am multitasking as well.
Yep.
I'm trying to answer some questions.
I'm excited.
For the math assessment, if we take it all 3 times, Allison, this sounds like it could be for you. If we take the math assessment all 3 times, will the highest grade be chosen or the most recently taken will be chosen? Sorry if this is unclear. I just want to know what grade would be chosen if the test was taken multiple times.
Yeah, it's totally clear. We select the highest grade. So if you've taken it 3 times or you intend to take it again, it'll be the highest grade, even if that was your first attempt. Always the highest. We want to see the very best effort. We know if that's the best you can do, then that's what we're going to use.
Thanks.
Thank you.
There's a question about jobs again. I see it says if you didn't apply for work on campus, can we still find a job? And the answer to that is yes, because we always have new jobs coming. We may have some returning students who have applied for jobs, but for the fall semester, we have not gone out with our all of our employment opportunities on campus. So I think that once you get to campus, again, we're going to have some welcome tents in the quad with all kinds of resources. One of them will be campus employment so that you'll have access to that information as needed. There's lots of questions about the bills again. The bills are due on the 6th, and that they want you to clear your bill. All payment is not necessarily due by the 6th, but they want you to take financial responsibility for that bill. There are payment plans available, and those are all articulated on the student accounts page. Maybe someone can pop that in the chat for me. So if you go to the student accounts page, you'll see the options for payment plans. It's an Oneonta-based payment plan. That's always helpful for families. And again, it's putting the bills out there now is the opportunity for you to have a conversation with student accounts so that you understand the bills, make sure all your aid is placed appropriately, and talk about these types of questions regarding when do I actually have to take the money out of my pocket and put it in SUNY Oneonta's pocket. We'll help you through that. I know it's a lot. There's a lot coming at families at once right now, and we're here to try to help you keep track of all of that. There's a question, if COVID spikes again, will everything go back online? Again, this goes back to my earlier comment that we will have a plan in place for fall 2021. Those plans have not been made public yet, so I can't speak to what our reaction will be, but SUNY will again provide guidelines for the levels at which campuses will need to respond to any potential COVID outbreaks, and we will certainly follow that guidance. Let's see. What are the selfies for the student IDs due, and where do we send them? Let's see. I think that those are, I'm not sure where exactly they go. It's in one of the emails we sent you, though. But you can send them anytime, and I believe they go to our dining services area, but I can't remember the exact email address. Pam, if you have that, maybe you could pop that into the chat for our students. A math assessment question. That's a FAFSA question. We'll have to get back to that tomorrow. What is the 529 plan? Is the 529 plan on the bill different than the installment payment plan? A 529 plan is an educational savings plan that a family would establish for savings for college. That's what a 529 plan is. So that's different than the installment plan that is a payment plan for you to pay your bills at SUNY Oneonta. And we're going to talk, there's some questions about food. We're going to hit all of the food and residence life questions next week at our session about student life and living. So we'll get to that then. Any FAFSA questions? There's several of those in the chat. I would encourage you to either contact the admissions office, your admissions counselor tomorrow, so we can connect you with your financial aid counselor, or contact your financial aid counselor directly, who should be listed on your financial aid award package. And that you should have their phone number as well as their email address. I think at this time we've covered the majority of questions. So I am going to thank everyone for your thoughtful questions and all the interaction we had in the chat. And I want to thank all of our chatters behind the scene as well as our presenters this evening. This was a great success. I hope we were helpful to you. If we were not, you make sure you contact us, because we really do want to make sure that all the questions are answered. So you can contact Allison, Joanne, myself, Dr. Growl. We're all on the website. Our names were listed on the first slide, I think, or on one of the slides. You can contact us by email or phone, and we'd be happy to make sure that you get connected to the office that you need so that the students and the families feel supported and are clear on what needs to happen so that you can get here and have a great transition to SUNY Oneonta. So I'd like to thank you all for your participation and wish you a good evening, and we will see you at our next Red Dragon Ready session next week. Thanks so much.